So, you might have seen yesterday on this YouTube channel, we ended up speaking about a highly touted, top-ranked Russian prospect turned NHL player, and how things were turning around for Ivan Demidov. Today's video is not going to be about Demidov. We're talking about another young Russian stud, and a guy who's had a pretty rough go to open up this season, admittedly speaking. It hasn't looked all sunshine and rainbows for Matvei Michkov, but today we are diving into what he had to say about the start of the season, as well as what he is not happy with, as mentioned in the media yesterday. Now don't worry, that sounds very dramatic, but I promise it's a good thing, and I think Flyers fans all over will be very satisfied to see this sort of an emotional response from one Matvei Michkov. But let's set the stage clear here first, shall we? So, Michkov has been in a pretty rough spot to open up the 25-26 campaign. The 20-year-old, 5'10", 176-pound, left-handed right winger, yeah, that's quite the mouthful, isn't it, had himself a really good season last year. Rookie year for the Philadelphia Flyers, he had 63 points in 80 games, 26 goals, and 37 assists. The problem is, though, this year his point production is a lot less than that rate. He's currently got 16 points in 26 games played, on pace for about 50 points over a full 82. He's got 8 goals and 16 assists, which would be in line to getting fewer in both categories compared to last season. It just has not been as successful of a year for Matvei Michkov to open things up in 25-26. Now, I will give him credit. He has started to put things together recently. You take a look at his recent games, he has had 4 points in his last 3 games, 6 points in his last 5. So, Michkov has a pretty good resume of points coming in the last few days here. But it took him a while to get to this point. Michkov started out the year, quite frankly, looking not in shape. His conditioning was not there where it needed to be. Add on the fact that you have Rick Tocchet as the head coach, a guy who, unfortunately, has not had many success stories with Russian forwards that happen to have a lot of skill. Say what you want about Ilya Mikheyev, but Andrei Kuzmenko was a total travesty of a Russian experiment that Rick Tocchet just wanted no part of when he was in Vancouver. Now, I'm not saying he's directly the same as Matvei Michkov, but Kuzmenko was a guy that absolutely thrived in Vancouver before Bruce Boudreau was removed from the team. Rick Tocchet came in, and then Kuzmenko was all of a sudden near the bottom of the barrel. Now, for Matvei Michkov, you can say, Tocchet doesn't necessarily have a style that brings the best out of pure skill players anyway, and I was very much on that train heading into this season. The only interesting part is, though, I seem to have been proven wrong, at least halfway, because Trevor Zegras is a guy who is thriving under Rick Tocchet, Taco as he likes to call him, much to the surprise of many Vancouver Canucks fans who are on the outside looking in. Michkov has not looked too great throughout the whole season. He's been looking better lately, but he did have these sorts of issues heading into the season, and it got even worse when Rick Tocchet mentioned how they want to change the way that Michkov thinks about the game, etc., etc., and these are the exact comments that he said about Elias Pettersson last year, which got a lot of Canucks fans on Tocchet's behind in a negative way. So to see it rinse and repeat with another European skilled forward in Philadelphia just gave a lot of Canucks fans ammo to fuel their anti-Tocchet sentiments. But now it turns out that Michkov has expressed his side of the story, and what he has been disappointed by within himself as to how things went heading into the year. Take a look at this tweet posted by Kevin Kurtz on Twitter yesterday. Michkov said, "I think I'll train here in Philadelphia next summer. I'm not happy with what's happening right now. I'm not happy about my points, and I'm sure that I can do much better, and make it better for the team. And of course, I need to score. You can't score in every game, but physically you need to be ready for it. In February, during the Olympic break, I need to properly prepare, and spend the time to be ready for the rest of the season. If you're physically prepared, the goals will come naturally." And I do think that this is a pretty good sentiment in the replies. Michkov sees what Bedard and Celebrini and Karlsson are doing, and he's probably embarrassed and angry with himself. If he improves his skating the way Bobby Brink did, Michkov will be unstoppable. And I think the most important part about the way Michkov is reviewing his training and the way it bled into this season is the fact that he seems to know what went wrong. He knows that he didn't show up to camp in the best shape possible, and he knows that there was extra work that he could have done to put himself in a much better position to succeed right out the gate. It's hard coming into an NHL season when you are a step behind of everybody else in terms of just fitness and being able to play up to the speed and the pace that the game demands out of you night in, night out. Some guys take months to get up to speed, others take a lot less than that because they were training in the off-season as hard as they could. If there's one thing that Matvei Michkov has been displaying pretty well throughout the course of his entire career so far, it's that he wants to be one of, if not the, best. And this is a guy with the talent to go out there and potentially do that. I remember when Michkov was just 16, 17 years old. He was being compared alongside of Connor Bedard in the generational rivalry wars of the 2020s, and a lot of people said, oh yeah, it was Crosby and Ovechkin, next it's going to be Bedard and Michkov. Now it looks like it could be Demidov and Macklin Celebrini, but either way, that's besides the point. Matvei Michkov has been linked to some of the names of the best for years, and even the Olympic Games went out there and wrote about how he's the best young Russian goal scorer since Ovechkin. So, to see Michkov come in and have a great season last year with 26 goals, only to be on pace for fewer this year, it is quite disappointing for a guy who is only used to being in a good spot. You then had some other comments made by Flyers fans about Michkov and his decision. This is what Yuck Butt went out there and said on the subreddit. This decision of Michkov's will become the best decision he makes after choosing to come here before the draft. We better hire the best skating coaches that money can buy. Throw so many sports science at this kid that he feels like Ivan Drago. The one thing I'm not concerned is his strength and willingness to bang around, because he's a thick guy with a low center of gravity, and I've seen his strength training videos on Instagram. Give Michkov a full off-season of top-tier training and he'll be a demon next year. I hope some of the other prospects follow his lead. I hope they all do. That's one of the things that has been discussed quite a bit when it comes to Michkov this year. It's that he has such a low center of gravity and that he is a thick tree stump of a hockey player. It's almost like he's built in that same Leon Draisaitl sort of mold, especially in the way that he's not the best skating and pace-wise right now. It does lend itself well to that comparison. Guys who maybe don't move the best, but who have strong bases and who have good goal-scoring ability and skill. If Michkov is able to get a little bit more agile and use his mobility to help him out more so in that area, then who knows what could be unlocked within him and his game. He was always compared one-to-one with Connor Bedard, and Bedard is one of the best players in the National Hockey League right now. Could Michkov at least catch up in the offensive production department? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Michkov's determination and his dissatisfaction with how things have gone so far this year? And how do you think it's going to improve heading into next season, or even the rest of this season and beyond? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.